Hi, my name is Michal Schaefer. I'm here to talk a little bit about the AI app that I built in Sigma and show you a little bit under the hood of how it works. So this app is basically an internal forum, think something like Reddit or something like that, but it lives fully within Sigma, which means that you can use it with your internal data, and all of the data lives within your organization. So you can see it has the posts. We can filter to specific forum topics. We have just announcements. Let's add in warehouse, remove announcements, etc. We also have like buttons. When you click the like button, that will update to add an additional like. And we have comments. So when I click the comments, it comes to the details of the post. We can see the post again, and we can add a comment, and we can see existing comments like those comments as well. Of course, we can also add a new post where we select the category, we create a title, add an image URL, and add the post body. Let me show you under the hood how this report is put together and how all of the actions are set up. So a little bit of the layout first. I'll talk about the UI elements I'm using. I'm using a lot of repeated containers. A repeated container is in beta, but it does allow you to have a little card for each row of your table. It can also be filtered. As you can see here, we're filtered by the topics that are selected, and also a couple of other things. But besides for that filtering, we are displaying one card for each row on the table, and anything that I do to one card will apply on all the rest of the cards. Repeated container is super useful for this kind of situation. The way that our forum topic buttons work, each button is actually inside a tabbed container where we have the unselected version of the tabbed container and the selected version of the tabbed container. Each one of those contains a button that's both say announcements. One of them is a filled button, one of them is an outline button. And the actions that are set to each one are first to set the topics, either adding the selection to the topics filter or removing it from the topics filter, and then switching the container tab so you see the other button. So when I click announcements, when it's unselected and I select it, it adds the announcements to that filter, and it also switches this tab to the announcements button that is filled in. And that's a really cool way that it kind of looks like you're clicking the button and the button is filling in to show that it's selected, but it's actually two separate buttons on two separate hidden tabs. The way that our likes work is the like button has an action on it where we have the post ID saved and we update a like counter with the column of the existing likes, and then we just update the row with an additional like added to that like counter. The comments is working a little bit differently. It's just counting up the number of comments that are for this post. And let's see what the data looks like. This whole report is based on these two main tables. They're both input tables. One of them is for posts, one of them is for comments. The comments always have a post ID, so we know which post the comment lives under. And then we have a bunch of different columns, first for the post information, the title, the image, the body, etc. But we also have our likes, we have our comments, which is a lookup, and we have a sort order. And the sort order depends on what's selected in the sort order control. If the sort order control is newest first, then we're ranking by the created date descending. If it's oldest first, we're ranking by ascending. If it's most liked, it's by likes, etc., etc. So we're using the rank functions, we're using the switch function for the sort order control, and that's what we're using both in the posts and in the comments. And that way, when we go to a different sort order, we can see that it updates accordingly. Here I have some controls that are set as placeholders so that when I update certain actions and update certain rows, I know which post that's going to, depending on what was selected. And the really cool thing about this kind of app is that right now we're just using pure entry input tables, empty input tables to start with this. However, what you can also do is use a linked input table linked to existing data. So for example, I can have a table that has maybe a list of vendors, and for each vendor I want to start a conversation. I can start a post based on a specific row, a specific vendor row, and I can talk about something, call something out about that vendor. I can pull in different information that is related to that vendor in the details screen. I can do a lot with the existing data that is in my database along with this forum style. I hope you enjoyed this app.